People of the internet, Bill Burr has been known to put people in his place, and today we are going to see some of his most notable victims in the film The Graveyard of Bill Burr by Tell Us More. Like and subscribe if that's your thing. Here we go. Buckle in. This might be a little bit painful, but I'm sure most of us are going to laugh.
For nearly 3 decades, Bill Burr has built his reputation on saying exactly what he thinks to anyone at any time. While others calculate the career implications of every word they say, Burr simply doesn't care who's listening, and this is what makes him so entertaining. Whether it's an angry heckler, a famous podcaster, or even the richest man on the planet, he rips into them all the same, and somehow he always comes out on top. But what makes Burr different isn't just that he speaks his mind, it's how he cuts through bullshit without hesitation. Perhaps it has to do with his blue-collar upbringing or the fact that he's far more educated than he lets on, but he has a way with words other comics don't seem to possess. He calls out
So basically what he's saying is Bill Burr is like a real comic. I think of anybody doing comedy right now, Bill Burr is probably one of the only ones that actually can do a real set that makes people laugh. Not like the people that go to kill Tony, but actual like real life human beings. They're a different species of weird people.
Hypocrisy, knocks people off their high horses, and refuses to play along with social niceties. When Burr confronts someone, he doesn't just disagree with what they're saying. He challenges why they're even saying it, often leaving them speechless, awkwardly laughing, or sometimes genuinely shaken up. Today, we're going to take a look at some of Burr's most notable victims, starting with his most recent, Elon Musk. In the last few years, Musk has become an increasingly divisive...
You know, did this guy know that he was literally going to like tear the fabric of Earth apart, of humanity, shred it? Like, this guy has divided the world into two. It's crazy. I didn't see it coming. But I just didn't see it coming. Dude, the whole world's crazy right now. Bro, I don't even try and make sense of it. I just try to wake up and do what I can to survive. Because if I think about that stuff, bro.
Figure. After acquiring Twitter and rebranding it as X, he sacked 80% of his staff, unbanned various controversial accounts, and stirred up debates with his shifting political views. More and more often, his ego has been taking center stage, from something as silly as lying about being one of the best Path of Exile 2 players in the world, to suspending the Twitter accounts of anyone who challenges his views. I covered this in depth in a recent video of mine, but it's safe to say that Elon has become an extremely problematic guy, so I suppose it was only a matter of time before Burr called him out.
Have you noticed, before we get into Burr, have you noticed that Bill Burr has just become like this, and maybe he always was, but like this spokesman for like the working class? Like he's speaking at the political without getting political, if you know what I mean. He is a little political on his show, but he's just becoming like this figure, speaking out against Elon Musk and Trump and all that. And I wonder is that this like the transformation of a comedian, where you go and now you're at one moment you're making people laugh, and then you're speaking change to people? I don't know. I was just wondering if he's becoming some kind of figure like that, you know, because he's definitely getting very active about speaking out. Anyways.
How about the fact that the Twitter guy he's not even from here. He's from South Africa. He comes to this country and wants to turn it into a fucking dictatorship. He doesn't feel that we deserve democracy. Can you just imagine doing that? Going to another country and just deciding, yeah, you know what? I'm going to change this form of government because I've decided. Yeah, he doesn't mind living under a dictatorship as long as he's on the good side of it. Fucking laminated face cunt.
The incident that really set things off happened at a Trump rally shortly after the inauguration, where Musk made a gesture many interpreted as a Nazi salute. The clip immediately went viral, with endless debate about whether it was actually a Nazi salute or it was just being misinterpreted. On an episode of his podcast, Burr had his say, and he laid into Musk.
And look at that guy, with his Turkish hair plugs and his laminated face, and now he's out here Sieg Heiling. I mean, that guy is off his fucking rocker. All of these movies along the fucking way, The Greatest Generation, D-Day, all of those lives that were sacrificed so that people could live free. And this fucking nerd, because he couldn't get any pussy in high school is now identifying with Hitler.
Hey, I'm just put it out there. But we make this joke. And people say it all the time. But not getting laid does a lot of bad things for people. It's the truth. It's just one of those like universal. I think if there was a universal truth, like a lot of bad things could have been prevented if some of these really like people could have been gotten laid, I don't know. It just I think Bill Burr was speaking some truth there, because not getting laid makes people really, really angry and like divisive, and it's just, we just need to heal the world, folks.
Why would he be a Nazi? Like, what does he feel he's not getting as a white man? I mean, it's like you're a fucking billion. You got more money than anybody. You're still upset? Like, how do you have the bandwidth with the amount of fun you're shooting rockets off and all of this stuff? You still have the bandwidth to fucking you to be like not liking people? Because
I think he has a really good point there. I think of it differently. When you're the richest man in the world on paper, or who they're allowed to say is the richest man in the world, I'm sure there's some people in the oil industry in the Middle East that have some like serious money. This is why what I don't understand. Maybe it's like, okay, this is what I don't understand. If you have that much money, you can create your own world and literally nobody can tell you differently, right? That is just, that's how it is. And no one can tell you differently. So you don't even really have to live in the society that the rest of us live in, or like the government. You can literally, you shouldn't even, like, in my understanding, like, he shouldn't even know what's really going on in the real world, because he's so rich he can just create the world that he wants around him. Like, he should be so clueless to what's happening. And so that's what I don't get about these rich men. But then the idea is like, maybe to them, when they get to that level, it's like playing StarCraft or Age of the Empires or something like that, where you just have all these pieces and you can move them and then you can make them attack things, like you're so rich that you're just above just moving the pieces. And maybe that is what really gets people going. But I just don't understand, like, why would you, if you were this rich, why would you even care what everybody else was doing? Like, why would you be mad at anything? Like, no rule, no nothing's ever going to affect you. I guess the taxes, like, maybe that's the thing, but I just, outside of the politics, because I'm not very interested in that, but just like, why would these mega rich people get involved in like issues like this when it really would never change a thing that would happen in their lives? That's what I don't get.
they don't look like you? Is that what it is? I mean, to be honest with you, nobody looks like Elon Musk. That's what scared me about that guy. Hey, Elon Musk, if you don't mind, we'd like to enjoy our life. I don't think we need to reboot Adolf or you fucking lunatic. I'm sorry pretty girls don't like you until you have $1 billion.
Burr clearly wasn't impressed, and you can't blame him. A guy in Elon's position doing something like that is just reckless. Even if it wasn't intended as a Nazi salute, when you're one of the most visible people on the planet, you have a responsibility to consider how your actions might be perceived. What's interesting is how alone Burr seemed to be in this criticism. Comedians are supposed to be the ones who call out the rich and powerful and say what others are afraid to. Yet when it came to Musk, most of the comedy world went silent. In fact, some prominent comedians like Joe Rogan took Elon's side, mocking and dismissing the controversy altogether.
What is it like to buy a company for $44 billion and then people call you a Nazi on that same thing that you bought?
I did not see it coming. It's classic.
The thing is it doesn't matter to him what we say. Like, at the end of the day, it's why I think all of this stuff is like so pointless, is because these guys have power that we'll never be able to sway or persuade, and getting upset about all this stuff and getting upset about politics and that, you're just playing into their hand. Like, I don't have time. I have to put my limited time on this planet towards things that will make me feel accomplished or have done something or just stuff I like doing. I just not. I'm just choosing not to be involved or mad at this stuff anymore because really, the only reason they're allowed to do this or to create so much craziness around it is because we give them the power, we give them our attention, we give them our anger and stuff. And I've tried that and it didn't change anything. So I think I'm going to try and go another direction, you know, because the being angry and mad and trying to tell everybody and change their mind, so useless.
People will go almost anything down.
Yeah. Oh, he's never gonna stop.
Wait, what?
What is it like? Like all this, people used to. The left was in love with you,
Yeah.
and now the same idiots are calling you a Nazi. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life.
Rogan and Burr's view on this couldn't be further apart. What seemed to frustrate Burr the most wasn't just Elon's gesture, but the lack of consequences that followed it. On his podcast, he expressed genuine disbelief at how quickly something he deemed so serious had been brushed under the carpet.
He's gonna burn this whole thing down. I think he just lost his job. Oh, wait a minute. Nothing happened. I cannot believe nothing happened.
Yeah,
Nothing happened. How do you explain that away? I gotta be honest with you.
They don't have to. They don't answer to us. As long as we play their games, they do not answer to us because they are the game master. The minute we start ignoring them, that we don't give them the power, we don't buy their stuff, you know, like that's how it is. I don't know what's going on a lot of the time with the political situation. It seems bananas to me, but it's just so bananas. I don't even understand people, why people want to put other people in such conflict like this. I get it younger me. I don't understand at these older guys why they want to play these games. Is it because they're older and they're feeling irrelevant because of their age? They're not young anymore. I feel like the older I get, the less I want to be involved in this stuff, because I feel a lot of times like trying to change somebody's mind or trying to fight against other people's opinions, like politically and stuff. Like I remember the Obama campaign. I was friends with somebody, you know, and we used to go to concerts, and our friendship ended over a political fight. You know, it got so heated, and it's just like there's shame in that, you know, like. But I guess life is just a lot of mistakes that just are inevitable. But I'm trying, like, this doesn't work. That's all I know. All we're doing is since this election, like, became like, it came into the rear view mirror and it kept getting closer and closer till it was upon us. From that time on, this country has just been crazy, and there's fighting. I was in the grocery store, last night, and I was checking out, and this lady was going on about how the country is so bad and like being real political and just saying we need to do this, these people this, and then like she totally like basically trashed one side of the political spectrum, right? And then she was all, and people just need to be loved. And she kept trying to like I would not look at her. I didn't want to acknowledge that I cared about this conversation. And she was just right there. She'd already checked out. I was checking out, and she was just standing at the edge of the register by the bags, preaching this whole thing. And I'm just like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? You know, I just, why are we not pursuing cooler shit, man? As humans, we pursue such bullshit. We pursue more drama, you know? And I know that's what my page is. But hey, man, I like trashy reality shows, and hey, maybe I'm just the drama commentary. The drama commentary. That's my phone. Sorry. I'm the drama commentary for comedy. You know. I don't know. Yeah, man. What you see, every time I think I could say something, it's just like, yeah, you're a hypocrite. It's just, oh, it is what it is, man.
The fact that he did that and everyone isn't fucking outraged is just, is beyond me.
You can tell Bill isn't a fan of Elon's, and it goes far beyond the alleged Nazi salute. Burr considers Musk to be part of a much larger problem in America, surrounding wealth, power, and accountability. He recently spoke broadly about billionaires and their influence over everyday life, and he didn't have anything nice to say.
The amount of people that are struggling out there because of these fucking billionaires, and they got us all arguing liberal and conservative. We got to stop doing that. Like, I am so tired of hearing about people going to bed worried about what's going to happen next week. There is so much fucking money in this country, and there's so much work being done, you know. And if you work a full fucking week at a job, you should be able to pay your fucking rent. You shouldn't have to go out and get another fucking job and still be struggling. It's bad for the country. It's so fucking, these fucking billionaires, they need to be put down. You know, like fucking rabid dogs. They're like rabid with fucking greed and just going out and just dividing everybody.
Soon after these...
So I'll let you into like the core, the root of all of Earth's problems, right? Go back to this one thing. So ever since we've settled land, and like we settled land and had agriculture and stuff, and we stopped being hunter-gatherers. I think it was like in Mesopotamia is where we first started doing it as humans. Ever since then, the root of all problems, think of all the problems, think of all the things that divide people on this planet, and they all go back to this. And it is the power structure of wealth. It is all goes back to rich versus poor. Every single problem, every single thing in every single country goes back to that. And it's been that way since we started settling land and stopped being hunter-gatherers. And so when people just like, I can't believe these people have done these things, right? These billionaires, it's like, well, why not? Just look at all throughout history. They sacrifice hundreds of thousands of soldiers to do what? You know, bring them glory and victory by conquering other lands. These countries, you know, you look back at World War I, trench warfare is basically like impossible to create any kind of solutions on the battlefield. You're literally just standing in front of each other and just firing everything you got. I mean, and they let that go on. And let, what was it, 100, like 500,000 here, a couple 100,000 there. Like for years, they let that go on, and just millions of people get slaughtered. It's like, look, for some reason, we're conditioned that there is some inherent good throughout all of humanity. And when people are confronted with doing the right or wrong thing, most people choose the right thing, and then the others are just criminals, right? But like, really? Look at how these people treat their employees. Look at how they treat their warehouse workers. Look at how most businesses treat their employees. And you could say that most businesses don't treat their employees well, and the ones that do are very few and far between. You see that a lot of times in life, where you end up isn't based on your talent, how good you are at something, how much you can contribute. It's usually based on who you know, where you're from, and who your family is. a lot of people, a lot of the positions that make $100,000, like, you know, there's positions that make $200,000 a month, millions of dollars a year. A lot of those people that run those companies are dumb, and a lot of those companies are scams. Dumb people make a lot of money. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but don't trust these people, especially don't trust dumb people to look after your best interests, because they don't. They look after themselves. And why do these people take bonuses while wages haven't been raised? Because they don't care about you. They care about themselves. And at the end of the day, if they can put another $5 million into their bank account instead of raising their employees' wages, then they put that $5 million in their bank account. So all throughout history, the rich versus the poor, the rich have always acted like this. So expect the worst, because there's still war going on. And you would think as humans, we could have figured that one out like a minute ago. Anyways.
Comments made their way around social media. Burr came out saying his Twitter account had been flagged for inappropriate content. Given the insane amount of time Elon spends on Twitter every day, you can bet he caught wind of the things Burr had been saying about him, and this was probably his way of getting revenge. He's been using Twitter as a weapon ever since he took over, so this wouldn't be anything new. The irony is, he cosplays as an advocate for free speech all the time, whether that be through his tweets or during sit-down interviews.
You know, and have like a sense of humor, you know? So, I mean, the sort of the left wanted to make comedy illegal, you know? Yeah. Like, you can't make fun of anything. So then it's like, comedy sucks. It's like, nothing's funny. You can't make fun of anything. It's like, legalize comedy. Yeah. Legalize comedy.
The funny thing is, he did this interview just days before Burr's Twitter account got flagged. It seems he's all for free speech and comedy, just so long as it's not directed towards him.
I'll tell you what's funny. I made fun of the fucking Twitter guy for fucking Sieg Heiling, not once but twice, and I never look at my emails. I was scrolling through my emails and it said my Twitter account had been flagged for I don't even tweet anymore. It had been flagged for it. What a fucking baby.
One thing you can trust Burr to do is apply the same unfiltered approach to everyone, whether he knows them or not. This might explain why Burr hasn't appeared on Joe Rogan's podcast since 2020. Given Rogan's friendly relationship with Musk and Burr's tendency to speak his mind, an appearance on JRE could quickly become uncomfortable for everyone involved, especially since Burr and Rogan have had differences of opinion in the past. Throughout the pandemic, Rogan's podcast became a lightning rod for controversy. His platform, with its audience of millions, became a home for COVID skepticism. He questioned mask mandates, gave airtime to vaccine skeptics, and promoted alternative treatments like ivermectin, positions that earned him praise from certain circles and criticism from many others. In June 2020, when COVID was still relatively new and the world was grappling with lockdowns, Burr appeared on Rogan's show.
See, here's the thing about all of these comedians just talking about this stuff and like putting their attention on politics and you know, social problems and stuff. They're comedians, and all of this takes away from what they should be doing, is making lots of comedy to make people laugh. Sorry. And I just imagine how much better would Joe Rogan be if he actually put some of his attention to his comedy. I mean, maybe he does, but okay, maybe he does. But the thing is all of this, I swear, like, you can find the political outrage, the dividing, you know, people thing. I don't even want to pick a side, right? Or tell you my side or anything, because it's just stupid. It's a waste of time. We should be finding, I don't know, man. It just seems like we should be having more happy moments, okay? That's what I'm thinking. I just get tired of this shit.
Rogan, who had become increasingly vocal about his distaste for masks, tried to pull Burr into a debate. When he suggested people shouldn't have to wear masks outside, Burr immediately shut him down.
Do you want people to walk down the street with a mask on?
Let's not start this, Joe.
Do you, though?
Let's not start this. Okay.
Let's start it.
I don't want to start this bullshit. I'm not going to sit here with no medical degree, listening to you with no medical degree, with an American flag behind you, smoking a cigar, acting like we know what's up better than the CDC. I just love how wearing a mask became like this fucking like soft thing that you were doing, like being courteous.
being courteous. Why is it for bitches? That was so
You're wearing a
stupid.
mask. First of all, it's
Oh,
not-
God, you're so tough with your fucking open nose and throat. Gee, Joe, and your 5 o'clock shadow. This is a man right here. A man doesn't wear a mask.
What makes this exchange stand out is that Rogan isn't often met with this kind of blunt pushback. On his podcast, he typically leads the conversation, and most guests choose to engage with him in a more agreeable way. But Burr, as always, just says it how it is, and Rogan is far from the only comedian who's been on the receiving end of that. Imagine leaving your house with your front door wide open.
I think that was a pretty good one for Joe Rogan. You know, the thing about Joe, and maybe that is why Bill acted that way, and he was so offended by that, because he definitely just jumped on him. Is maybe I just sense there's some kind of there's something wrong with Joe Rogan, you know, like some kind of evil there, just some kind of darkness. I don't know what it is, man. I just get a feeling.
That's what browsing the internet without a VPN is like. Your personal data is exposed to hackers, advertisers, and even your internet provider. That's why I use private internet access. It encrypts my connection, hides my IP, and makes sure my data stays private, whether I'm at home or on public Wi-Fi. But here's the real game changer. Private internet access lets you access geo-restricted content. Ever tried watching a show only to be told it's not available in your country? With private internet access, you can switch your location to over 91 countries and unlock content from Netflix, Disney Plus, and more, so you'll never have to deal with frustrating region blocks. And unlike other VPNs, private internet access never tracks or stores what you do online. Your browsing history, gone. Your personal data, untouchable. It's been proven in court, so you know your privacy is actually protected. It's also one of the fastest VPNs out there, so you can stream in HD with no buffering, even when connected to distant servers. One subscription covers unlimited devices, so you can protect your phone, laptop, tablet, even your smart TV all at once. With over 30 million downloads and top ratings, private internet access is a VPN you can actually trust. Right now, you can get 83% off plus 4 extra months free, which works out as only $2.03 a month. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so signing up is completely risk-free. Click the link in the description or pinned comment to get started with private internet access today. The path to comedy success has transformed dramatically in recent years. While Burr came up through the traditional route, years of grinding in clubs, earning respect from fellow comedians, and slowly building an audience, newer comics like Theo Von have found success through entirely different channels. Theo rose to prominence primarily through podcasting and viral clips.
Dude, you know, here's the thing, man. I hear a lot of you guys go Theo Von, Mark Norman, right? And you tell me they're good comedians. I hear it's all the time. What? I can't believe you said that about Mark Norman, man. What's wrong with you, brother? It's like in the comments, but like literally, I tried once to do a review of a Mark Norman special because I was like, these guys, they have not watched his special, because if I sat here and we watched that special together, dude, it's so bad. And have you seen Theo Von's on Netflix, whatever that one was? Oh, atrocious. It's so bad. It's so bad. Like I could go, oh, you like Bert Kreischer or Tom Segura, you know, or something like, you know, and you're like, oh, okay. But like they have like their specials aren't as bad as like Theo Von's and Mark Norman's. Like Mark Norman's, bro, y'all are crazy.
Clips, building a dedicated audience through his unique storytelling style
Crazy,
that blends
bro.
his southern charm with hilarious anecdotes. His approach to comedy didn't develop in smoke-filled clubs like Burr's, but in long-form conversations and social media snippets. When Burr appeared on Theo's podcast in 2019, many different paths to success created a noticeable tension. Theo, who openly admired Burr, tried different ways to connect, from sharing personal struggles about tour burnout to asking funny questions out of left field. But despite his best efforts, he and Burr just didn't seem to be on the same wavelength.
I was just like experiencing like a ton of stress, man, burnt out. You know, I've been on the same tour for this hour for almost over a year now.
Dude, bands tour for like 4 years and then fucking go right back in the studio, make another one, and keep going. You got to toughen up, man.
Yeah, you're right, huh?
You know?
What do I
Your
do, you think?
camouflage hat, looking like a fucking backwoods guy, all tough and shit. You can't handle doing your hour again? I mean, come on, man. Suck it up.
This was just 2 minutes into an hour-and-a-half long podcast, and Burr had started how he meant to go on.
I just think I have a tough time working with other people. So
I think I agree with Bill. I get sometime, like when you're out there, I used to go on trips, right, where we'd be in the mountains for like weeks and weeks, just like sleeping on the ground, just and then you'd go into town or something for a day and you'd get a bed and then you'd be right back out there. And it'd go on like that for months. Yeah, I just don't think like doing an hour set of comedy is that hard. Why didn't he just ask him genuine questions? Do you think he was trying to be accepted? Anyways, I don't know where I was going with that.
sometimes,
Well, I would say get over that.
yeah.
Get over yourself and get over that, because there's a lot of great people in this business and you're going to miss out. And I don't know.
No,
You know what?
I
You'll
totally
say
respect that.
your loved ones will save money on the funeral costs because no one's going to go. So there's not going to be too many fucking snacks they got to put together.
At this point, it was dawning on Theo that the podcast wasn't off to a good start. It was just 13 minutes in, and Burr had already taken multiple digs at him, and it appeared to be more than just harmless ball busting.
Remember that on Mary Tyler Moore show?
I don't
She'd have a rough day and she'd come in. And
I don't remember the whole show.
I can explain it to you.
Yeah.
If I can explain it to
Okay,
you.
go
This fucking guy just I don't know what that is. All right.
No, I believe it.
I don't know. And the second I started to explain, like, I don't know the whole show. All right, I get it.
I believe
That's that comic ADD. Like, I don't want to I'm not into it. I don't want to hear it. I got it. Your show. Go ahead. Continue.
I remember. All right, let's talk about old shows then.
We don't have to. It was so funny how you bailed twice on that. You made
Patty Duke. What
You
about
made me
that?
feel like an asshole. Like that was the
did I really?
15th time I fucking brought it up.
They just weren't getting along. Theo was being his usual quirky self, but Burr seemed to interpret this as him being unprepared or deliberately strange.
Do you keep a weapon on yours or no?
On what?
In your, I don't know if you have a helicopter, or if you rent a
Do I
helicopter.
really have to answer that? He knows goddamn well I don't have a weapon. Why are you doing this?
You don't? You wouldn't have a gun. I don't think that's. I don't think that's obtuse, really, to think you might have a weapon in there with you. Think about it.
Yeah, think about it.
Okay. All right.
You think about it.
All right, man. Just a small gun, dude. Just a handpiece.
Yeah, no.
What made the podcast particularly uncomfortable was that you could tell Theo genuinely respected Burr and wanted the interview to go well. With each awkward exchange, Theo appeared more and more deflated, trying different approaches only to be met with dismissal or confusion from Burr, and by the end, he looked completely defeated.
What about the nice guys? Oh, you got to see that.
Okay.
You got to see that one. That's a funny one.
I'll watch the nice guys.
No, I don't know. I think you're looking down. You got your
No, I
jaw
will watch
out. You got your jaw out. It's very
No.
confrontation. I'm feeling like you're not liking my suggestions. You just like you like the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This guy's dead to me.
This was like watching
Oh, yeah, that's true. It is. Oof. I just don't like that, man.
two guys having to hang out because their wives are friends. This is like watching a golden retriever and an old cat trying to get along. A few days after the podcast was released, Theo posted a video reflecting on their conversation.
I felt sometimes like I didn't know what to say. And I don't know if that's the best place to be. Sometimes you're supposed to be interviewing somebody or having a conversation with them. But I'm not like, I wasn't disappointed in myself or anything like that. I think we're two different types of people. In hindsight, it was exactly what I should have expected. He's Bill Burr. There's a reason that I think he's the best.
Burr's unfiltered and combative style isn't just a generational difference, it's what made him legendary. Nothing proves that more than the night he went up against a hostile Philadelphia crowd in 2006.
First off. Isn't that Red Rocks? I'm pretty sure that's Red Rocks. Not Philadelphia.
Back then, radio was still king for comedy promotion.
Ew!
The Opie and Anthony show was Burr's home base. He'd been a regular guest since the early 2000s.
Yep.
Part of a rotating cast
Edward
of
Norton.
comedians, including Patrice O'Neill, Jim Norton, and Colin Quinn, who thrived.
What's funny? I really never listened to Patrice. Something about Patrice really, he's really confrontational, like a way I don't like. But I probably listened to him a lot because I used to listen to Opie and Anthony all the time, and I guess I just didn't realize. I always realized Jim Norton, dude, because Jim Norton's so disgusting. But yeah, I probably listened to him a bunch because I used to listen to that show a lot. We had that satellite radio. Boy, those were the days, satellite radio. Does anybody even bother with that now? You got phones. But anyway, satellite radio back in the day was pretty chill. Except if it got stuck on that Grateful Dead channel and you're just like, jeez, man.
In the show's brutally honest style. For Burr, these radio appearances weren't just promotion. They were a comedy boot camp where he honed his confrontational style and quick wits against some of the sharpest minds in the business. The 2006 Traveling Virus Comedy Tour was a showcase for this Opie and Anthony comedy family. When it stopped in Camden, New Jersey, just across the Delaware River from Philadelphia, the lineup featured several of Burr's closest comedy peers. The venue was an outdoor amphitheater on a brutally hot
It was Red Rocks.
alcohol flowing freely and an increasingly hostile crowd. What happened that day would become a turning point in Burr's career.
If you ever get a chance to go see music at Red Rocks, it is awesome. I got to see 9 Inch Nails there. Boy, really cool. Go, if you ever get a chance, travel, drive. That's what I had to do. I had to drive a long time to get out there. I had to drive far, but did it. I did it, and it was worth it. It's an amazing place, and the shows there are awesome.
The Philadelphia crowd, already notorious for their hostility, turned especially vicious. Dom Irrera, a Philly native and veteran comic Burr had looked up to, struggled to win them over. Tracy Morgan, then at the height of his 30 Rock fame and known for commanding difficult rooms, gave up after just 7 minutes. Even Bob Saget, whose raunchy stand-up persona usually connected with rowdy crowds, couldn't break through.
Oh, Bob!
When Burr took the stage, the atmosphere was toxic. His fellow comedians backstage had already conceded defeat, with some even suggesting that they should end the show. But rather than follow their lead, Burr made a decision that separated him from his peers. He went on the offensive.
Oh, f*** all you people. You know what, you f***ing losers? I hope you all f***ing die, and I hope the f***ing Eagles never win the Super Bowl. Go f*** yourselves. F*** you motherfuckers, and f*** the Friars. F*** all of you.
As you can tell, he wasn't holding back.
Let's talk about heart disease, something you're all gonna f***ing die of, and I'm gonna laugh at your f***ing funerals. It's gonna be great. You're all gonna get f***ing cancer, which is fantastic, because all your f***ing heads are shaved anyways. No one's even gonna notice.
For nearly 12 straight minutes, Burr systematically dismantled everything Philadelphia held dear, hurling increasingly savage insults at the city, his culture, and its people.
Fucking Rocky is your hero. The whole pride of your city is built around a guy who doesn't even exist. You got fucking Joe Frazier is from there, but he's black, so you can't fucking deal with him. So you make a fucking statue for some 3-foot Italian, you stupid Philly cheese eating jackasses. I hope that cheese melts your fucking faces off. All of you collectively suck a fucking dick.
At one point, a man in the crowd said something, and Burr unleashed on him.
What's that, sir? What do you have to say, sir? Never passed the 8th grade. What brilliant shit are you gonna tell me, huh? Go back to the dock and go unload some shit. You fucking warehouse working, weed smoking, disappointment for your mother.
As angry as Burr sounded, he seemed to be taking pleasure in the whole thing.
7 minutes left. 7 motherfucking minutes left. And I'm doing all fucking 7.
Somehow, being ripped to shreds won the Philly crowd over, and their boos slowly turned to cheers. And by the time Burr ended his set, it was clear he'd earned their respect.
Listen, I'm out of time. You guys were here, man. Thank you very much. All of you go fuck yourselves.
This moment became comedy legend overnight, cementing Burr's reputation as a comedian who wouldn't back down from anything. While Burr doesn't go nuclear...
Oh, man, dude. It's still funny. It's still funny, dude. Just imagine being able to tell a crowd that. Be pretty fun, huh? Be pretty fun. Here we go.
Like he did in Philly, that same willingness to confront BS shows up across all his interactions. Just look at how quickly he shuts down reporters who try to trap him with loaded questions. During a press junket, when one interviewer tried to bait him with a question about women in comedy, Burr immediately recognized the setup and flipped it on its head.
Can women be funny?
Yeah, of course.
a hard time saying yes, though. There's a lot of angry young men on the internet that are like, women can't be
Stop
fun.
it. Will you guys just fucking grow up and just sit down and write your own horse shit and come up with it? Start your own fucking show. Have your own award show. Quit waiting around for other people to do shit for you. That's the fucking problem. If you guys had your own big club and I was standing outside of it, you'd never fucking let me in. I'd start my own shit. You guys got to start your own shit. You got brains in there, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So write your own shit and quit your fucking whining. We're all eating a giant shit sandwich out here. Nobody cares. I don't care.
Another confrontation occurred between him and the radio person.
I like that. That's what I say. Nobody cares. Just do your thing. Do your thing. Nobody cares. Don't listen to nobody. Just keep doing your thing, you know?
Personality Southside Steve, after their interview immediately got off to a shaky start.
I don't think I've seen this one.
Southside Steve, and this is Southside Steve TV, and this is Bill.
Oh, bro. Oh, man. You saw that, right? the same thing that hit me hit him. You know what I mean? I caught Bill's vibe right there. He caught on.
That's your question?
I'm just saying who you are.
Oh, yeah, all right. I don't like you. Creep me out with that big microphone and that country western shirt.
Southside Steve took another wrong turn when he flippantly assumed that Burr would do a routine for them then and there.
Bill's a comedian. He's at the punchline. He's in town, and you're a funny guy. You've got these routines in your head, so I figure I'll toss you a mic, and you go.
And I'm going to do stand-up in front of 9 people in a radio station? No, I'm not doing that.
Well, you're taking the fun out of Southside Steve TV.
Steve went on to provoke Burr further by sticking his microphone in his face.
Do you like my mic?
No, I don't. I don't. Please.
Is that comfortable? Is this uncomfortable?
This is, yeah, no, don't, man. Honestly. Can I take the mic?
Sure.
Now, that's the number one thing you don't do. As I learned that in broadcasting school, you never give up the microphone. See, now I have the power. This Bob Barker thing.
Yeah.
You're what is this? Rock 100.5. This is the worst interview I've ever done.
Beyond the lesser-known characters like Southside Steve, even high-profile intellectual figures fall victim to Burr's clever jabs. Bill Maher has been a fixture in political comedy.
I'm sorry, man. This is better than comedy, man. Southside Steve, man. How you know every city's got them too. Guys like that. You know, do business with us and we'll knock the competition out, you know? What are they thinking?
For decades, hosting shows like Politically Incorrect and HBO's Real Time since the 90s. Known for a sharp political commentary and intellectual approach to comedy, Maher has built a brand on being a rational voice, willing to challenge both sides of the political spectrum.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna let you know a secret. I will this afternoon be making a Bill Maher thing about something. I had to listen to this podcast and do all the time places. I'm going to be actually putting a very loosely edited film together about it. So I had to do all these timestamps. And I haven't listened to Bill Maher in some time, and it is painful. It is. I look at Bill Maher and I think, that is everything that is not good about not learning to mature as a human. That's what I think about Bill Maher. I think he is just a man so invested in his ego that it hurts to listen to him. That's my thoughts on Bill Maher.
Spectrum. He and Burr have actually crossed paths many times over the years, with Burr making several appearances on Maher's TV shows. When Burr made an appearance on Maher's podcast last year, it didn't take long for their back and forth to start.
I think that might be the difference in our generations, which is not that, I mean, we're maybe like 13 years apart.
You're one of my elders, man. I respect you for that.
I feel like I'm in the Reagan-Mondale debate.
No, I just
now
remember when you
like,
did my podcast, you kept getting like, I'm not that much older than you.
And I'm not. And
Dude, 13 years is a long fucking time.
Well, I think the point I made then, and I'll remake it for you, is that to anyone young, trust me, when you're 25, you and I are the same.
Dude, if you and I are just like hanging out, talking, but if we go back far
And
enough.
You're a dad.
If we go back like.
That adds 10 years. You're married and a dad. See,
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
You just hate kids.
I do, but like having never gotten married, not married, not kid, that definitely closes that gap. Anyway, the point
Does he have that conversation with everybody on his shows? He literally, the podcast I was listening to basically went on. The thing that I noted, I can't say that point. That's going to be in the other one. All right.
I don't like how you just made that point and then said anyway really quickly before I could refute it. Anyway, did you learn that in debating class?
I did.
Because you said anyway, I'm gonna roll with that? No.
Well, I mean,
Unlike some of the other encounters we've looked at, you can tell these guys have a friendly rapport, but even though Maher was supposed to be the intellectual in the room, Burr never gave him an inch.
the 25-year-old is watching this going, look at these two old guys. They're not going, oh, the guy with the cigar is
Oh, I know
obviously
that.
13 years younger.
I know, but you have to go all the way down to 25 to appear my age. You can just see the way we dress.
I look good. That's the difference. Is that you were
do look
wearing
good.
you're wearing
You're not gonna
sneakers.
throw that in my
You got a
face.
you got a tee.
Dude, that brown color is, I call that like Friends brown. That's like the color I associate with the TV show Friends, and like the colors they wore like look at his chair. Everything is very like 90s Friends. Like look at the picture behind. Dude, this God, dude, he's almost 70, right? Is this what happens when you become an old man that never like evolves past your ego? You just look like a teenage boy, right? Trying to find his way through puberty.
Shirt on, like
You look like a fucking defendant. You look like you're trying to beat a drinking and driving charge. He doesn't have any priors, Your Honor. Look at him. He's wearing his Chelsea boots. He's a fucking, what do they call it? A productive member of society.
Later in the podcast, Maher started speaking Latin and using words Burr didn't understand, presumably to assert some control over the conversation. But it had the opposite effect because Burr just proceeded to make fun of him.
It's gauche. But yeah.
Here you go
I
again
mean,
with the big words. What does gauche mean? I've heard the word.
it means great in French.
Gauche? No, it doesn't. Magnifique.
Do you remember when you were on Real
Say
Talk?
magnifique, monsieur. That's
you're in the highlight reel.
Super.
Yeah, Bill Burr is starting to speak French pretty good, if I can remember, because he takes lessons with a lady when he's, I think when he's home, not on tour and stuff. And then he does, where he does conversations, like whole conversations in French when they meet up. So I thought that was my first instinct when he said that. I was like, yeah, Bill would know what the word for great is in French because he does French all the time. French lessons.
Yeah, that's in vogue
I'm
for young kids to say the Beatles stink.
I can always talk Beatles, and yes, they always. One reason they are prima inter pares among rock gods is that they.
I've never heard all of those words. Was that 3 words? Was that 2 words?
That's Latin for first among equals.
Don't you save that for your parties when you're wearing your smoking jacket? I'll tell you, that Bill Maher is really smart. He is really well-read. He just said prima paravardis.
Prima inter pares.
Inter pares.
You know what? I'm not the bad guy because I know more. Okay, can we just get
That's
that?
right. Don't
Can we
make me-
just
don't make me-
Chiron that?
exactly.
I'm not the bad guy because I know things. I apologize.
You should say, I'm sorry, I'm not stupid, Bill. That's what you should have said.
These exchanges with Maher
It's like, I think if you allow your ego to dictate stuff, we all become a version of Bill Maher at some point. I've made a fool of myself so many times. Sometimes my ego gets the best of me and I make a fool, but it always seems like that's one thing that will guarantee you'll make a fool of yourself, or you'll just seem very unlikable, which, you know, it's not a fun thing to experience. But Bill Maher is the version if you just continue to do that your whole life. And it's not saying that people that don't end up like Bill Maher don't have problems with their ego at times. The thing is, if you let your ego dictate everything you do, you become Bill Maher. And it's so hard to watch him because he's always waiting to talk about himself. And it's so obnoxious. It's obnoxious thinking about me at some point in my life, wanting to just talk about myself all the time. It's obnoxious. And this is what Bill is confronting, and why he's confronting it, because it's obnoxious. It's ego. It's just selfish to to invite someone on a podcast and then just want to talk about yourself. It's like, come on. And then to belittle your guests by trying to appear above them.
Showcase Burr's ability to level the playing field with anyone, regardless of their status or intellectual credentials. But as direct as Burr is about his opinions, there's one area where he draws a clear line: his personal life. Unlike most celebrities who share curated glimpses of their personal lives on social media, Burr keeps his private life strictly off limits. He barely uses social media, never posts about his family, and has zero interest in the world of celebrity culture. This commitment to privacy extends beyond just avoiding social media. It's evident in how he handles interviews as well. Burr immediately senses when someone's trying to pry into his personal life, often shutting down questions with sharp humor before they even fully develop.
See, that's one thing. Like, look, when you're posting content and stuff, I just don't get it. You're just entertaining. I look at myself as entertainment, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to make some entertainment, trying to have some fun, trying to talk about some things, you know. But I don't get why all these, like, it's just people need attention, right? These people, they post, you know, like, they post apology, they apologize to the internet, like, why? Or they tell details like about their court case on the internet, and you're like, you don't owe that to anybody. Like, that's your life. I just don't get why we want to overshare so much. But then at the end of the day, like, maybe that's the way it should be. I don't know. We're accountable to everybody that we don't know. Like, come on, like, it just doesn't make sense why they want to just like show everything about their lives. It's just like, ugh.
Quick defensive reflex was on display during an interview with Charlemagne the God, when a simple misunderstanding about someone Burr mentioned led to an awkward yet hilarious moment.
I've only met 2 people that had like a vibe like her in my life. And the first one was a dude. He was just, so that wasn't happening.
Wasn't he tight?
No, he was like, no, just walked in the room, you know, and you just knew the person was coming in the room. She has that vibe, right? So,
hold on, you gotta clear that up. I want to be clear about that. You didn't date the guy or nothing.
No.
I just want to make sure.
Is it the first one? When are black people gonna let go of this homophobia? You always gotta check. Like, what are you doing with your manicured eyebrows? Like, I'm fucking gonna sit here and act like you're all good over there. Like, you don't swing a leg over the fence every once in a while. Like, hey, wait a minute. Look, yeah, you got fucking sandals on and white socks. You look like you just came from a steam room.
This situation was pretty harmless, but radio personality Howie Mandel took boundary crossing to another level.
That was good.
His recent appearance on his
Howie Mandel, man. God, that guy's been like a part of my life, you know, for like all my life. I remember Howie Mandel like reinvented himself. The Howie Mandel, wasn't he like, he was like a comedian? And then, I mean, most notably for me growing up was Bobby's World, you know, and he was like, and now Howie Mandel is like a whole different thing. Like he's been going for over 40 years, man. Is that not nuts? But I have to say, this version of Howie Mandel is a little weird. But at the end of the day, when you're this rich, you know, you look at Elon Musk and the billionaires, they're all really weird. And it's because they answer to no one, and they live in this magical fairy tale land that only a few people, you know, throughout history get to live in, the ultra rich, right? Or even in, you like, look, Howie Mandel is probably worth several hundreds of millions of dollars at this point. Like he can live in that world too. He can live in a version of that world. Not quite the version of like control countries, power, you know, never get arrested thing, but you could live pretty close to that, right? And that's why they're all weird, because they don't realize any kind of the social things, but they don't know how to read people. They don't have to. They answer to no one. And I think Howie Mandel is a little weird now. Just a little out of touch.
Podcast. Without warning or prior discussion, Mandel orchestrated a surprise appearance by Burr's supposed half-brother, Billy Corgan.
And look who's here.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Sit down.
You're an asshole.
Billy Corrigan. Billy Corrigan.
Yeah.
I'm an asshole?
Yeah,
I thought this would be great to bring a family together.
He didn't tell you. He told me you were totally cool with me coming.
That's what he does.
So Billy Corrigan was nice enough on my podcast to talk about the fact that he told a story that he had never told before, that his father traveled.
My stepmother said to me, "Do you know who Bill Burr is? Bill Burr might be one of the children that your father sired in his days on being a traveling musician."
If you do the math,
he was a piece of shit. And he had two kids this close together, and he named them the same fucking name.
Good
he thinks
point.
it's different because he's Billy and I'm Bill. Like, that's how he told the difference.
Well, I was Bill when I was young. But you're right.
This type of manufactured confrontation is a Howie Mandel specialty. He's developed a reputation for engineering uncomfortable moments to generate viral clips, like when he asked UFC President Dana White to walk off his show. In this case, Mandel had bombarded Corgan with texts claiming, "Bill will love it if you come, he's cool with it." But it was a lie designed solely to create drama. What makes it worse is that this encounter was the first time Burr ever met Corgan. As the awkward situation unfolded, Burr quickly realized exactly what was happening and called Howie out on his manipulative tactics.
Because that's
that's some personal stuff, right? Especially if he's never met him. That's not like pulling a funny joke, a practical joke, oh, this is like Nickelodeon style, the slime falls from the ceiling, haha. It's like, we got you clothes, we'll pay for, whatever, right? It's not like that. That's like, I don't know the facts about this, so that could be some like really dark stuff for both of them. And that's talking about people's fathers, man. Do you want to go there?
That's the thing. He's bringing in here not because he's trying to heal the bullshit that we went through growing up. He's getting here just for the fucking ratings.
Hey,
so now what was supposed to happen? Are we going to go play catch? We're both in our 50s.
Burr was taking the whole thing in his stride, but it was obvious that the situation made him feel uncomfortable, and he made sure to let Howie know that he wasn't impressed.
I think we're on the same page thinking that you're kind of a dick right now.
A few days later, he was asked about what happened on another show, and he insulted Howie and his shady behavior.
People want to know, were you really pissed?
Listen, I don't talk about
your stuff.
Yeah, I don't. And so Howie did what he did.
Yeah.
Because he is a Hollywood whore. And he doesn't care what happens, that he just didn't.
Okay.
You know, he could have said something and he just threw it brings up all that weirdness.
All things considered.
Yeah, I think that's rude. And that's true, man. People, the longer I'm on this planet, the more I find it to be true, is people don't really often consider other people. And I don't know, man. I feel lost. I think I've tried to search for some answers over the course of my life, and there's really no solid ones, if you want to be honest.
Considered how he got off lightly given how invasive what he did was. We've seen Burr be a lot more punishing for far less, like the time he was interviewed by the YouTuber Ethan Klein. Ethan rose to fame in the mid-2010s through reaction videos and comedy sketches on his YouTube channel. His satirical humor and willingness to mock other content creators earned him millions of subscribers and a reputation as one of YouTube's most influential commentary channels. In 2017, he and his wife Ela started a podcast together, and in one of the early episodes of the show, they had Burr on. Ethan, being an inexperienced interviewer, was doing a very poor job as a host, constantly interrupting Burr and asking awkward, out-of-place questions. He got away with this for a while, but where he really messed up was when he started asking Burr about his family.
It seems like you're in love with your daughter, hearing you talk about her on the podcast.
Jesus Christ, well, you're pretty perceptive. It seems like you care about your own child.
It got worse when Ethan asked about his father.
You gush over your daughter. Not everyone gushes. Did your dad gush over you?
I mean, I was too little. Yeah, no, my dad actually at work did. At work, that's when I learned, like, oh my God, yeah, he really likes us. But when he came home, yeah, he was cracking the whip. How's your bed mate? You do your studies? Well, why not? You know, that shit. And he also had a zillion kids, so I mean, yeah.
Really? How many siblings do you have?
I don't know, dude. The internet's too fucking weird to give out all that information.
Oh, you don't even want to say how many because you're afraid that it will
Yeah,
somehow
by all means,
compromise
keep
your
talking
privacy.
about it. Is there any way you can cut this out? I'm honest, dude. Like,
Seriously?
Yeah, no, dude. This fucking.
I never really understood Ethan Klein, like, and now he's on a terror against Hassan. Him and Hassan have some big beef, and it's just, I think it's turning these people, like some of these content creators, they get involved in all this drama, and it like makes them go crazy. Like Ethan Klein doesn't look healthy. He just looks like he's lost every ounce of fat he could on his body because he's stressing over all this drama. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy how involved these people get in drama, and it will drive you crazy. Drama has no other purpose but to keep you insane. And the longer you're involved in it, the more insane you become.
Lunatics out there.
Okay.
Whoa.
Off the air, I'll tell you.
All right.
Jeez. I love how surprised he is. Jeez.
Well, you can mention the amount.
Absolutely crazy people out there.
Okay.
The tension between them was undeniable at this point, and Burr's patience was wearing thin. Later on, Ethan asked him about the Philly incident, which is something Burr has spoken about 1,000,001 times, and you could tell from his response that he'd had enough.
This is one of the first times I heard about you. I was in college, I think, at the time. It was when you were getting booed by thousands of people
I was
in
hoping
Philly.
you were. I was like, when you said my favorite
don't-
YouTube video, I was like, oh God, not the Philly thing again. And then you did the Sherry's Berries. I was like, I love this podcast. Now I hate you.
Oh no.
I love. What can I do? I love that.
I'm joking. I'm fucking with you. Go ahead, let's do it.
But do you? But, no, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna ask you.
The aftermath of this episode was very messy. Ethan received a barrage of hate online for how he handled the interview, and he got in his own
Didn't he just like have a breakdown?
head so much that he started cancelling guest appearances for subsequent shows. He even began to question whether people liked his podcast at all.
It feels like nobody likes this podcast and everybody wants it to go away, but somebody likes it. I mean, people watch it, right? I mean,
I have thought about quitting the podcast, honestly.
A lot.
Because it's been such a pain. It's been so painful at times.
He said that he'd started taking antidepressants because his mental health was all over the place, but it wasn't until a year later that he admitted why. In an episode of Theo Von's podcast, he came clean about how that episode with Burr broke him.
I went into therapy after that episode. I'm not even
really?
I'm not even being kidding. I mean, I was having a depressive episode for a long time.
Right.
And I had these antidepressants next to my bed for a long time. And
you were taking them?
No, I hadn't decided to take them yet. I was hesitant.
Yeah.
And after that episode with Bill Burr, I came home, and that's when I started taking antidepressants, and I went to therapy.
Wow.
It was soul crushing.
Theo could relate more than most since he had his own rough podcast with Burr, but it was clear it hit Ethan a lot harder.
It felt like a rock bottom for me because I was having a hard time with the podcast and interviews in general, and that for me was just kind of like the culmination of a lot of stress.
Ethan's breakdown reveals the double-edged sword of Burr's.
Dude, I don't know, man, because it just seems like as time goes by, he gets progressively worse. Like, I think maybe a lot of his like outrage right now might be him being backed in a corner or something, but he is, I don't know. He just looks like it's eating him, and now he has this cough. Like, I saw an episode of his, like, and he just coughs all the time, and I'm just like, what is going on with this guy? You know, what is really going on here? It's crazy. It really is crazy. It feels like the internet drama and all of this years, it's just eating him. It's eating him alive.
Approach. What seems entertaining from a distance can sometimes be damaging up close, but that's why he stands apart in today's comedy landscape. Burr has carried an unmatched authenticity throughout his career, and he doesn't discriminate in his targets. What's interesting is how little his success has changed him. Despite Netflix specials, sold-out arenas, and millions of podcast listeners, he remains the same guy who once told an entire city to go fuck themselves. He's never developed the veneer that typically comes with fame, and he's unapologetically himself in every interaction. Some label his style as brutal honesty, others call it being an arsehole. But in a world of carefully manufactured personas, maybe that's exactly what we need.
There you go, Bill Burr, just keeping it real. And it truly is funny. I mean, you know, and the things he chooses to go up against, man, you know, that's the stuff that maybe we should be focusing on. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Bye.
Don't stay.